Along. My name is Butler Nipure. These are tonight's top stories.
President Mnangagwa consoles the Matemadanda family following the death of Ambassador Comrade Victor Matemadanda.
We'll also look at a production that is currently taking place as Zimbabwe is poised to supply electricity transformers to the SADC region.
In other news, Zimbabwe embraces electric vehicle revolution with green projects underway.
And outside of the World Cup in sport, we'll look at the Bangladesh national cricket team, which has just arrived in the country ahead of a test encounter with the Chevrons. But of course, we start with tonight's top story.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa has sent a message of condolence to the Matemadanda family following the death of Zimbabwe's ambassador to the sister republic of Mozambique and the Kingdom of Eswatini, Comrade Victor Matemadanda.
Well, in his condolence message, the president said he learnt with deep grief and sadness the untimely death of Comrade Matemadanda on Saturday night. He said Comrade Matemadanda's association with the nationalist politics and national liberation struggle for independence dates back to his youthful days as part of the Zimbabwean migrant community, which had settled in Zambia to escape persecution and inhibitions in the then-settler colonial Rhodesia.
The president said Comrade Matemadanda readily swapped his relatively quiet and comfortable life in the Zimbabwean migrant community in Zambia for the one of a harsh struggle, initially joining the likes of Comrade Patrick Kombai to mobilize support for fighters and refugees in several camps in both Zambia and Mozambique. He also said even when Comrade Matemadanda was redeployed to Mozambique as the ambassador to Mozambique and the Kingdom of Eswatini, he distinguished himself in that role as he pushed hard to have all mass graves and shrines properly rehabilitated as a show of respect and dignity to Zimbabwe's fallen heroes and heroines.
Well, the president noted that the government will ensure that these revered sites and shrines are rehabilitated and properly curated as a way of honoring the heroes and paying lasting tribute to Comrade Matemadanda. He said Comrade Matemadanda also continued to advance the interest of the party and war veterans through the War Veteran Association, which he helped lead.
And now, China has reaffirmed commitment to working with Zimbabwe on key areas of trade and economic cooperation driven by the existing cordial bilateral relations. The latest commitment was made after the Chinese envoy to Zimbabwe, Ambassador Zhou Ding, paid a courtesy call on the Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga in Harare this Monday.
Chinese ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Mr. Zhou Ding, this Monday paid a courtesy call on Vice President General retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga. The Chinese ambassador told journalists after meeting Vice President Chiwenga, the Asian economic giant is committed to increase the trade and investment cooperation with Zimbabwe.
We talk about the trade and economic relations. And we are very happy that in the past years we have achieved great achievements. The bilateral trade volume reached record high, reaching $4.4 billion. We are also happy that the Chinese investment here in Zimbabwe is growing.
His Excellency Mr. Ding also explained China's role as Zimbabwe's largest foreign investor.
Our investments and trade relations sustained more than 1 million jobs here in Zimbabwe. We feel very, very proud of our joint achievements. So in the future, we talk about how to strengthen our relations economically, culturally, educationally. We want to further our relations, especially in the new energy area. We also talk about how to utilize AI technology to enhance Zimbabwe's digital infrastructure.
Trade between Zimbabwe and China is this year projected to increase to over $5 billion United States dollars from a record high of $4.4 billion United States dollars in 2025, driven by the ever increased cooperation between the two countries in strategic sectors of the economy. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
All right, just coming back to our top story for today. tributes continue to pour in following the death of Zimbabwe's envoy to Mozambique and Eswatini. Ambassador Victor Matemadanda, relatives and friends have described the man as a passionate figure and a pillar for the family whose void will be difficult to fill.
Ambassador Victor Matemadanda, known for service to the nation during the liberation struggle, died after a short illness. At the family home in Mount Pleasant, relatives described a life lived for others.
Ndiye munhu anga asara tichita look up to as a family at first sababa zvekuti panguva yakaita saiko zvino tarasikirwa zvokuti hatisati taziva pekutangira, hatisi kutoziva kuti tichibva pano tinoendepi because tadzurirwa anga ari backbone yefamily yedu.
Colleagues and former comrades remembered Ambassador Matemadanda's courage and commitment to nation building.
Munhu anga achiti aida zvokushanda, unonzwa achiti mukataura kana pane problem anokutaura kuti comrade ngatishandei, tichibuda tichienda kunana Gokwe, tichibuda tichienda all over tichishandira musangano.
Munhu akanga ari very straightforward. Chaati anoda chaasingadi aibva ati chokwadi itikandi muzukuru itikandi muzukuru ngatiendei mberi nyika ndeyedu. Vachitaura nesu vachitishingisa vachitaura kuti hazvinei kuti handisiri munyika munomu ndiri kwandiri ikoko asi ndoda kunzwa kuti imi makashinga tifambe napresident wedu waMnangagwa tichichengetedza revolution.
Minister of Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Affairs, Senator Monica Mavunga, paid tribute to Ambassador Matemadanda's role in both the liberation struggle and post-independence diplomacy.
Uyu ndiwo vamwe varwi vanga vakasununguka kutaura zvavanoona kuita basa remusangano nebasa renyika nemoyo wavo wese. Ini ndakashanda navo muassociation yevarwi verusununguko ndiri secretary wewomen affairs. Ivo nguva iyoyo vakaita PC weassociation, vakaita zvekare secretary general weassociation. Munhu watakashanda naye zvikurusa kuti macomrades vange vachiziva kuti izvo nyika inoshandirwa, hatina kupedza kutora nyika chete nekurwa kuti tiwane independence, asi kuti izvo tinofanirwa kuenda mune zveupfumi. Saka makaona takabata tese pamwe chete navo panyaya dzekutora ivhu.
Ambassador Matemadanda also served as former Deputy Minister of Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Affairs. He is survived by his 2 wives and 18 children. Festus Mgungurudze, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe and Mozambique have committed to working together in the key area of national security. This came out during a meeting between the Defense Minister, Opa Muchinguri Kashiri, as well as the Mozambican Minister of Defense, Honorable Cristovão Chume, at the Josiah Magama Tongogara Barracks in Harare this Monday.
The Mozambican Minister of Defense, Mr. Cristovão Chume, who is in the country on official state visit, held some high-level talks with his Zimbabwean counterpart with a view to strengthen security apparatus between the two friendly nations. Addressing journalists after the meeting, Comrade Muchinguri Kashiri says the two countries have agreed to review their 2006 security agreements, which have been overtaken by time.
We both agreed that the 2006 agreements that we made between our two defense forces have outlived their usefulness. It is therefore important to establish a committee to review, given the current world order and the new threats that we are experiencing within the region as a continent and internationally. When Mozambique is under attack, it's an attack on Zimbabwe. We rely on Mozambique. So peace and security prevailing in Mozambique guarantees us Zimbabwe a lifeline for our trade.
Mozambique emphasized the need to strengthen security at the neighboring countries' borders for maintaining sanity in the region.
And also we discussed about the border security.
Não no sentido de impedir que cidadãos de Zimbábue possam viajar para Moçambique para Zimbábue.
Not in the sense to stop the citizens from Zimbabwe to move to Mozambique and vice versa.
Mas sobretudo para negar que as nossas fronteiras sejam usadas para o cometimento de crimes.
But mainly to stop that our frontiers be used for the committing of crimes.
Nos nossos países, assim como também em outros países da região.
In our countries, but also in other countries of the region.
Zimbabwe and Mozambique share a history which dates back to the liberation struggle, which has grown over the years. Tafara Chikumira, ZBC News, Harare.
Now, the Angel of Hope Foundation Drug Rehabilitation Center in Mbare continues to restore lives and rebuild families affected by drug and substance abuse.
For many families, the painful effects of drug and substance abuse have left deep scars, broken relationships, lost dreams, and emotional wounds that are difficult to heal. Parents have watched helplessly as their children struggle with addiction. However, through the compassionate work of the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, through the Angel of Hope Foundation Drug Rehabilitation Center in Mbare, a new chapter of hope is being written. Young people battling addiction are being given a second chance to reclaim their lives, restore their dignity, and rebuild their future. This Sunday, the center was filled with powerful emotions as tears of joy, love, and relief flowed when parents were reunited with their loved ones, undergoing recovery at the Angel of Hope Foundation Drug Rehabilitation Center. The emotional reunions were marked by hugs and heartfelt conversations as families embraced the progress made by their children. Those who once caused pain and heartbreak to their relatives had regained their sense of purpose, seeking forgiveness and sharing moments of joy and laughter. For some families, it was time of healing and celebration as they marked the birthdays of their loved ones amid smiles and renewed hope for a brighter future. Dr. Mnangagwa took time to engage with each family, listening attentively as parents shared their experiences and reflected on the positive changes they had witnessed since their loved ones were admitted to the rehabilitation center. She encouraged families to remain supportive and continue standing by their loved ones throughout the recovery process. Medical personnel from the Ministry of Health and Child Care and counselors also interacted with the recovering youths, offering encouragement and support during their journey to recovery. For parents and relatives, seeing their children taking steps towards recovery was a reminder that healing and restoration are possible. They commended Mother Zimbabwe for bringing hope to families while sharing the pain and challenges they've endured due to their children's addiction.
Mwana uyu angatowa kuuniversity mufunge mwana akangotanga kuita zvemadrugs kwakuenda kutonotora nesutukezi kwakutodzoka nemwana kuda kuti mwana achatobatiki achibva pamba makuseni oenda ukamuti simba rachizi kumumhanyirira kudai aingodaiwo kungari muherikopta kuti ndakutoenda.
Isu takamboedza kuti mwana wedu timudzidzise tega tichida kumuita rehabilitate tega inini naamai vake zvikaramba, asi hatina mavhiki matatu panapa taona mwana wedu tauya neinstrument kuti timuteste kuti tione kuti ari right here. Saka tamuona achiedza kufuridza instrument yachona zvatinoziva zvaaisiita.
Mwana wangu anonzi McDonald arapo ndakanga ndisisina nguva naye aimuka makuseni obuda oenda dzimwe nguva kana magumbezi changa asingawaridzi oenda odzoka usiku ndarara kuma9 ongopinda dzimwe nguva uri panzeka hamusisina munhu mozasi nhasi ndasonzwa kufara kuti nhasi takaunganoone mwana wangu tiri kutaura naye.
Some were left in disbelief at the remarkable transformation their children had undergone within just a few weeks of admission to the center.
Mwana wandavinga pano igotwe rangu Robinson anga ari mupurisa kukanzuru ari kutrafiki asi anga asingacharara mumba asingagezi asi pandaona nhasi Robinson miri wake wachinja ane ganda chairo randakamubereka ainaro.
The First Lady also interacted with the former inmates of the Angel of Hope Drug Rehabilitation Center, who continue to appreciate the impact of the program in their lives.
Nasunuino ndayazopupurawo ndaiva mugroup 5 vana vangu ndivava ndawana vane nguva yekuwana nevana vangu pari zvino mushure mange ndabva pano.
The Angel of Hope Foundation Rehabilitation Center provides safe and caring environment. Inspired by its impact and transformative work, provinces across the country are engaging Dr. Mnangagwa to replicate similar rehabilitation facilities in their areas. Masvingo province is leading the way after mobilizing the necessary resources spearheaded by the First Lady to ensure that more families affected by drug and substance abuse have access to support, recovery and renewed hope. Through its rehabilitation programs, the center is not only helping individuals overcome addiction, but also empowering them to return to their families and communities as productive members of society. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
The Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill is expected to hit the Senate this Tuesday, and this comes after it sailed through the National Assembly last week. And our reporter, Panashe Nagoli, gives us the details.
The Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Ziyambi Ziyambi, has outlined the next steps in the legislative process of the Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill as it heads to Senate this Tuesday. Now, this comes after the bill sailed through the National Assembly last week with a total of 216 legislators voting in favor of the constitutional changes.
On Tuesday, we'll have our second reading speech in the Senate. Thereafter, we'll open debate to honorable senators to debate. Once they've exhausted the debate, I will be able to respond to their debate, and thereafter we go into committee. Once we have finished the committee, then the third reading stage, we will now divide the House and ensure that the numbers are properly counted to make sure that we have the requisite two-thirds majority that the Constitution prescribes. Thereafter, once it's done, the bill will now be sent to His Excellency for assent.
The minister also highlighted amendments that have been made to the draft law regarding the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, the Zimbabwe Gender Commission, and the participation of traditional leaders in partisan politics.
We accepted that there was overwhelming support for the Gender Commission, and we decided that we would keep it. After representations from the Chiefs Council through their leaders, Chief Mchana Kumalo and Chief Charumbira, we decided that let's remove the clause that was deleting the involvement of chiefs in politics, and we kept it there. We had also had an oversight in terms of delimitation cycles. We had election cycles of 5 years, and we had a clause that would say after every 10 years. And we also had to look into the Constitution in terms of the security services, and we found out that all the other security services had similar clauses, and then we adopted a clause that encompasses everyone, which we felt was very progressive.
Other amendments in the bill transmitted to Senate include a proposal for the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to preside over the election of the president by Parliament. Panashe Nagoli, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, Zimbabwe is in a strong position to supply electricity transformers to the Southern African Development Community SADC region, with officials from ZESA Enterprise confirming they are in talks with Mozambique. This coming after the power utility revealed that it has produced in excess of 1,900 electricity transformers.
Government is forging ahead with the industrialization and modernization agenda by expanding local energy infrastructure and ensuring it reduces the country's import bill. Production of transformers is underway at this plant in Harare, where different sizes of transformers are being manufactured by ZESA Enterprises, a subsidiary of power utility ZESA Holdings. According to authorities at ZENT, the production scale at this manufacturing plant directly supports the country's objective of achieving energy self-sufficiency and aligns with the national electrification strategy.
The production capacity at ZENT
it has really gone up. Currently, we have supplied about 1,944 transformers that we have delivered to ZTDC. Interly, these transformers are then also further delivered to the national grid through connection of various customers. That aligns very well with the aspirations of supplying reliable electricity to the nation.
We're actually manufacturing transformers from the smallest size, which is a 10 kVA, up to 1.6 MVA. That's for distribution transformers. What you can see here is the capacity that we are actually making every month on a month-on-month basis. It's upwards of 250 transformers per month.
Through ZESA Enterprises, the country has registered its footprint into the regional energy market, leveraging its increased transformer manufacturing capacity to secure lucrative contracts within SADC and beyond.
So far, we have supplied to DRC, we supplied to Lesotho, and at the back end of last year, 2025, we supplied to ZESCO of Zambia about 170 transformers. We have an order to supply to Rwanda, 500 transformers to Rwanda, which we've done almost 30% now. We are continuing to supply. We will supply 500 transformers again to EDM of Mozambique.
The surge in production has led to increased direct employment opportunities and established the firm as a vital training hub for apprenticeship.
Mune attachment from different colleges and universities, attachment, as you can see, gender balance, vaskana, komana vese. 50-50.
We are mainly concentrating on the active part of a transformer. And here we've got a very highly motivated staff where we are producing a minimum of 10 transformers a day.
ZESA Enterprise shift towards regional exports has also been supported by strategic local partnerships, such as an off-take agreement with local steel manufacturing giant Dinson Iron and Steel Company, which ensures a steady supply of essential raw materials. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
All right, that report there from John Nandara. Well, coming back to our top story that we've been covering for you, of course, that's the death of Comrade Victor Matemadanda, the Zimbabwe's envoy to Mozambique. News filtering in that Comrade Matemadanda, who died on Saturday, has since been declared a national hero. Delivering the message to the Matemadanda family on behalf of the President, today ZANU-PF Secretary for External Affairs, Comrade Simbarashe Mbengegwi, said the national hero status is in recognition of Ambassador Matemadanda's distinguished contribution to Zimbabwe's liberation struggle. Comrade Mbengegwi said the decision was reached unanimously by the ruling ZANU-PF party. Elsewhere, Matapi hostels in Mbare set for a major facelift following the commencement of a refurbishment work by a local firm, with work expected to be completed within the next 4 months. The project is addressing legacy challenges that have affected residents for over 2 decades.
After enduring years of dilapidated ablution facilities and exposure to serious health challenges, residents at Matapi hostels will now breathe a sigh of relief as the hostels are penciled for a complete overhaul that will restore the dignity and living conditions of inhabitants. According to the Implementing Project Authority, ED81, a brainchild of engineer Collins Mnangagwa, 14 blocks of the 3-story flats will be worked on to rehabilitate and align their outlook with standard models. The outmodeled Matapi hostels were a burden carried for many years, which the residents are now looking forward to ending with hope.
Mbare yakuvandudzika pa zvinhu zvatisingatarisire tatira nekushorwa unzi kumbare akuite chichi, but iko zvino izvi takutodada nembare yedu.
Tinoda kutenda mukoma Collins Mnangagwa nekomiti yawo yavanayo kuzoti tivatitire basa iri. Tanga tikutambudzika zvikuru, taane nguva yakareba masystem yedu asiri kushanda zvakanaka.
Tanga tava nemakore akawanda tichitambudzika nematoilets achibhajuka mapaipi. Apa tiri kufara chaizvo nezvaitika izvi.
The scope of works includes an overall renovation of the sewer reticulation and plumbing system, tiling and painting of the interior and exterior. The ED81 team has since contracted workers to carry out plumbing and painting work.
We have looked at the living conditions that are right here, and we have just said, you know what, guys, let's just put our face into this. That's why we are calling it ED8. It's an aid. We are looking at a maximum of 2 weeks per block, given that everything from our part and our resources is in shape and is in order.
All hands are already on deck as the project kicks off.
You can see kuti my pipes edu aya awora, as you can see behind awora, and it's the old Rhodesian pipes. So what we're going to do, then we're going to put the PVC, the plastic ones, from underground, and then tapedza panze with that tobva tapinda mukati. Mukati amuna ma showers, amuna ma toilet seats, manga mwini epasi aya. So we're going to remove that. Toisa ma toilet seats, sitting bowls. Then to taisa ma showers in each and every bathroom inside. Then there were no tiles inside. We're also going to put tiles. There were no lights in the corridors. We're also going to put lights. So we're going to paint inside and we're going to paint outside.
Now the ED81 organization seeks to strengthen communities through job creation, local economic development, and targeted social support programs. Fanasha Nagoli, ZBC News, Harare.
The dairy industry continues to post impressive strides after the sector produced over 50 million litres of milk in the first 5 months of this year, from around 46 million litres during the same period last year.
Zimbabwe is moving towards a milk self-sufficiency, raising hopes for reduced imports of the commodity. This is reflected in the latest production trends that are showing a 7% rise in terms of overall production volumes during the first 5 months of this year. We spoke to the Zimbabwe Association of Dairy Farmers Policy Officer, Ms. Antonetta Chingwe, on the latest developments in terms of the current production statistics.
We have seen a steady increase in terms of milk production. Milk production has been increasing. We have seen a 7% increase for the first 5 months of the year compared to last year. We are now at 50.8 million litres compared to 47.4 million litres last year. And this can be highly attributed to the increase in head size that we have seen over the past years.
According to consumers, locally manufactured milk products are fully available in the country's retail markets, reflecting a positive impact of government's development partners and private sector interventions in the revival of the dairy sector.
Ndaona mkaka urimo wefresh wesena wakakora tirikuona urimo mkaka wakawanda usingaite like Dara, it used to be on small quantities, but now we have different brands, different names, and I'm sure
mkaka uripo wawanda muZimbabwe zvinotibatsira kuti tive nechoice tisarudze zvatinoda.
This year, the dairy industry is expecting a 10% rise in milk production to 130 million litres compared to 120 million litres produced in 2025. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
SADC Ministers of Transport, ICT and Meteorology opened their 5-day meeting in Bulawayo today as they seek to strengthen regional integration and promote intra-Africa trade.
The cluster meeting of ministers responsible for transport, information, communication technology and meteorology brought together member states to discuss critical conduits for facilitating cross-border trade within the SADC region for the betterment of the African continent.
By working together and drawing on our collective expertise, we can develop effective responses that advance regional integration and improve the lives of our citizens. Let us therefore use this meeting to strengthen cooperation, build consensus, and identify interventions that will accelerate our developmental agenda.
Private sector investment was highlighted as critical in promoting infrastructure and transport development within the SADC region.
We are also then going to now call on the private sector to participate as well as to assist us to ensure that the citizens are able to have those affordable devices, but also then will be able to get their relevant and critical information and messages for their well-being.
Information integration was also on the table, with plans to launch a dedicated SADC channel, highlighted as key in telling authentic African stories.
We are discussing about having a SADC channel
it's actually advanced now. That channel, again, it will be hosting content from the 16 member countries. And all the profits that will be coming from advertising on that channel will be shared around the model of how much content have you contributed.
On ICT, discussions centered on how to deal with the high cost of data that keeps millions of people offline.
We have actually been talking about decisions that will actually be considered by our ministers when they meet on Thursday. And these decisions relate to issues such as the pricing of data itself, the connectivity within the entire SADC block.
The SADC cluster meeting of ministers responsible for transport, information, communication technology runs until Friday, and these discussions will shape how the SADC region taps into the opportunities presented by the African Continental Free Trade Area. Lisa Correa, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
The government has reaffirmed its commitment to safeguarding and upgrading the socio-economic welfare of the veterans of the liberation struggle. This emerged during the ZANU-PF Manicaland Provincial Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Inter-District meeting held at Mutare Teachers College this Sunday.
The meeting, which brought together district leadership from across Manicaland province, served as a platform to deliberate on grassroots mobilization strategies, party ideology, and the ongoing implementation of empowerment programs tailored specifically for the veterans of the liberation struggle. Addressing the war veterans, senior party and government officials emphasized that the Second Republic, under the leadership of President Emmerson Mnangagwa, views the welfare of veterans not as a secondary issue, but as a core national obligation.
President vakakwanisa kuuya kunoko vakaona rig ratakapiwa seManicaland takapiwa rig panapa rakauya nyowani ratakanzi titange kuchererana mvura comrade wega wega achererwe mvura.
Toda kudzokorodza kutenda kuti muri kutitungamira tiri kutera ticharamba takabata mureza muchimurenga kusvika 2030 nokupfuuririza.
Kuno kuManicaland we have ordered and instructed my government ministries kuti make sure kuti vano prioritize kuemploya vana vema-war veterans ma-departments ese kunyanya ku-Ministry of Education nekuma-nursing.
The Minister of Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Affairs, Honorable Monica Mavunga, reiterated that veterans of the liberation struggle remain the foundational guiding compass of the revolutionary ZANU-PF party.
Vanga vasingade kunoklema mari dzevana dzezvikoro nekuendesa vana kuzvikoro vachingoshingira kuti aiwa mari dziriko ngatiitei mapepa dzinozongobhadharwa. Uye kuzvikoro tine kana kuri kuprimary nekusekondary ko kana kumauniversities kana paita dambudziko tinonyorawo masamba futi ekuti fanire kugamuchira vana vedu. Asi tinozvigadzirike pamusoro sorosa nekuti tine medical aid yekuti wakamwenda kwa private doctor unonoitirwa zvese ikoko kogoya takaendawo kwa kunhingirikini zvekuinsurance tikwanise kuti tichibatsirwa zvekare.
Meanwhile, the Second Republic, as per the provisions of the country's constitution, has continued to cater for the welfare of liberation war fighters with an array of economic empowerment programs and social safety nets. Geima Tambo, ZBC News, Mutare.
Now, for these and more stories, be sure to log on to our website. That's www.zbc.co.zw. You can also follow us on our social media pages on Facebook, on YouTube, as well as on X. And our handle is @ZBC News Online.
Right, and you can find some of the stories that we are chasing on those handles, and of course a bigger story that we are looking at, which is the death of Comrade Victor Matemba-Danda, who has since been declared a national hero. Also to come on this bulletin, Zimbabwe embracing electric vehicles revolution with green projects underway. And later on, when we look at sport, we'll be getting the latest on the arrival of Bangladesh ahead of that test encounter with Zimbabwe. We'll also give you highlights of what has been taking place at the FIFA World Cup. Be sure to join us for that and more when we come back.
always known what it takes to grow. But this is what it feels like to finally step inside the dream. It's that quiet moment when a room holds everything it used to be and everything it made possible. That this is actually mine feeling when the first payment hits. That pure adrenaline from a small space to an empire you rule. And when you said you'd almost sleep in your first car, we made sure you actually did. Plans may adapt, circumstances will evolve, but your growth, that's non-negotiable. Bank on growth with Stanbic Bank Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is our home, and we drive her growth.
Stanbic Bank is a registered commercial bank and a member of the Deposit Protection Scheme.
Is that KFC's Chimichurri Burger facing off with KFC's Prego? Chimi looks creamy, the Prego looks spicy, tangy, fiery, zesty, punchy. Ah! They both look so good! KFC's Chimi versus KFC's Prego. Pick your side.
Beneath our soil lies more than mineral wealth. It is opportunity, innovation, and the foundation of Zimbabwe's industrial future. From resource extraction to value addition, manufacturing, transport, and energy, Zimbabwe is driving growth through mining value chains. And every year, the leaders shaping this future gather under one roof. Welcome to MineEntra 2026. The premier platform where mining companies, suppliers, investors, innovators, and policymakers connect, collaborate, and unlock new opportunities. Join us from the 29th to the 31st of July 2026 at the Zimbabwe International Conference and Exhibition Smart City in Bulawayo. Exhibit at MineEntra 2026 to expand your network and grow your business. Register your attendance today. MineEntra 2026. Unearth, transform, prosper. Anchoring economic transformation through mining value chain.
Across Africa, a new era has begun. Shifting our focus to a new horizon, connecting us with one purpose: to create and share opportunities to grow. Today, we are making a brighter tomorrow, built by our dreams and our energy. Across our continent, across the world, we are creating a better way to a better future. A Pan-African future. Together. EcoBank. A better way, a better Africa.
The Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, ZBC, coordinator of the National Economic Summit, cordially invites you to participate in the National Economic Summit 2026, scheduled to take place from 7 to 10 July 2026 at the prestigious Elephant Hills Resort, Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. Under the theme, A Whole of Government Approach to Economic Growth Dialogue, this premier national platform will bring together government ministers, senior public sector officials, private sector leaders, development partners, civil society organizations, academia, investors, and industry experts to deliberate on strategies for accelerating Zimbabwe's economic growth and sustainable development. Join us for 3 days of strategic engagement, meaningful networking, collaboration, and partnership building, all dedicated to advancing Zimbabwe's growth agenda. Register, engage, and transform. For registration, exhibition, and sponsorship, and partnership opportunities, please contact email pr@zbc.co.zw, Alcent on +263 773 340 173, or Martha on +263 719 593 532. We look forward to welcoming you to Victoria Falls for this landmark national dialogue.
Welcome back. You're still on the main news. Now the stage is set for the National Disability Expo that is expected to be held this week at Mucheke Stadium in Masvingo, and it starts on Wednesday.
The National Disability Expo is an annual event which brings together government officials, civil society and advocacy leaders from across the country to spearhead discussions championing inclusion, empowerment and economic opportunities. President Emmerson Mnangagwa is expected to officially open the event on Friday. Director for Coordination of Government Programs in the Office of Masvingo Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Ms. Rosemary Chingwe, confirmed everything is now in place for this year's National Disability Expo, highlighting over 500 exhibitors will participate at the event.
Tikatarisa makomitees edu anogadzirira ma-state occasions, committee by committee, maripoti awo anoratidza kuti changomirira zvinhu.
Stakeholders are equally excited, encouraging persons with disability to attend the event. The expo is organized by the Office of the President and Cabinet through the Office of the Special Advisor to the President and Cabinet and acts as a platform for action and a reminder that disability issues should be central to programming. It also seeks to act as a reminder to make all programs and infrastructure accessible to persons with disabilities. The expo will run under the theme Embracing Disability Inclusion in All Sectors, a masterstroke for national prosperity and economic development. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Masvingo.
Matabeleland South Province is making strides in ensuring the uptake of STEM subjects in schools, with the government supporting the drive through the construction of laboratories and the deployment of science teachers.
It is becoming a common sight in once marginalized schools. Schools have been turned into digital hubs. Science and computer laboratories are being established to bridge the knowledge gap that existed between rural and urban schools. One such school is Cites Secondary School, a mere village school that is now competing with A schools. Now, as the teacher here at Cites Secondary School conducts his lesson, the interaction between the students and him demonstrates a school that is now empowered.
I make sure that my measuring cylinder is in the table to avoid the parallax. Right. And then I look at the marking of the water in the measuring cylinder. Then I record it down.
Awusincede ngokuthi soke ama-apparatus la ngemva kokwesikhathi sathi sesingcono sesikwanisa ukuthi sinama-experiment a-diffusion lokumixa ama-acid konke asesikwazi.
Kwenza sisengcono ngoba sesisebenzisa ama-measuring cylinder lamabhika leziphatshula ukuthi simeasure into ezehlukeneyo.
To support this vision, government is deploying science and computer teachers to these once marginalized schools. Now, if figures presented at this weekend's Matabeleland South Provincial Development Committee PDC meeting are anything to write home about, the province is set to achieve its target of 100% deployment in terms of science and computer teachers.
Total number of science teachers so far in the province is 1,440. Against a target of 1.5. So which means we are almost at 90% now.
The development of science and computer laboratories is set to increase the uptake of STEM subjects, which has been a missing link in the development of the province.
Ngemva kokunanzelela ukuthi khonena abantwana abapasa i-maths kumbe abalama science abavelela kulumango balutshwane sancedisana labaphathi bezikolo lamatitshala lababona ngezemfundo abe-education ukuthi basinikeze ama-secondary schools ethu ama-science teachers.
Sithanda ukubonga uPresident ukuthi wasinika, we are currently building 40 science labs and they're almost complete.
As part of the 46th National Independence Celebrations that were held in Mapisa, Matabeleland South is constructing 40 computer and science laboratories across the province, with all the projects now final touches away from completion. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Gwanda.
Well, young people in Bulawayo have called for improved access to sexual and reproductive health and rights services. They say information gaps are fueling stigma and limited youth-friendly facilities that continue to affect their well-being. Or on the other front, Headman Makado from Masera community in Beitbridge West has officially, or in fact was officially installed this Sunday, restoring the family's legacy after almost 2 decades.
The Masera community welcomed the installation of Headman Makado at a colorful ceremony held at Muchira Shokwe this Sunday.
Rifarota kalanga manda ngararo na 22 years risina musanda zvasvisa ku rifara sabatu rasisha na chirunzi namusi riko difa rina chirunzi namusina kopedza chizidoda.
Without a guiding hand, we face challenges that stunted our development and weakened the bonds of our community. Today, we are not just witnessing the elevation of a leader, we are reviving the spirit of our culture and heritage.
Beitbridge West legislator Honorable Tusanindo and Senator Tambuzani Muhadi said the new headman has a key role to play in pushing development programs in the area.
Zvisapotanga manda muvuso uritera uri rivena murangapanda wa vatu murangapanda wa black eya wa deny ngaro yove nosalela murawo
arali rinavo headman hava urauri mvelapanda yotakuwa zvinhu rina havo vika.
Officiating at the event, Chief Chitaudze, under whose jurisdiction the Makado family falls, urged unity and a collective responsibility within the clan.
This headmanship has been vacant for quite some time, for over 2 decades. Hence, this installation is a joyous and welcome development to the community of Masera and Beitbridge at large. We say welcome to Team Chitaudze, where we speak hard work as we preserve our culture and advocate for meaningful development for our areas.
The new third headman Makado was born in 1990 and replaces his late father Benson Makado, who passed away in 2004. Alifeli Mudau, ZBC News, Beitbridge.
In international news, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has resigned. In a statement, Starmer said he has accepted that his party does not believe that he is best to lead the country into the next general election. Starmer says he spoke to the King this morning to inform him of his decision to resign. He has asked the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party to set out a timetable with nominations opening for the leadership on the 9th of July and to be completed by the summer recess. This means a new leader will be in place before the British Parliament returns in September. Starmer added that until then, he will remain the Prime Minister. And that story taking us off to a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
From 11 June to 19 July, everything can wait. The FIFA World Cup 2026. Catch all 104 matches from as little as $10. Live on SuperSport, only on DSTV.
Great to have you back. In business news, Zimbabwe is embracing the electric vehicle revolution with several projects on the cards to promote the usage of green vehicles.
A conference on the electric vehicles adoption and usage convened in Harare this Monday is setting the groundwork for transitioning to clean fuel vehicles. The highlight of the conference focused on promoting rural industrialization through cost-effective mobility.
Energy is needed most for mobility
and for productive use mechanised tools in rural areas. So we have to rethink the way we think about energy. For us, we don't want to be dependent on fossil fuels. There's a reason there's a deficit of transport in rural areas, because there's no petrol and it's expensive and it's imported. So with green energy, we can bring transport and use the sun and use batteries.
A group of Kenyans, electric vehicle experts who are on a 5-country road tour, highlighted investment on supportive infrastructure should also be prioritized.
So the expedition simply aims to not only prove but stamp that electric highways, the future of electric highways is here. We've driven over 3,900 kilometers from Kigali to be here in Harare, and we're headed to Beira. So it's no longer theory, it's no longer a write-up that electric highway is a future.
Local players underscored how government is promoting the local electric vehicle market through policy formulation.
The EV adoption has grown since the reduction of electric vehicle duties. So the numbers have started to come in, but the infrastructure is where the biggest issue is. Even property managers, we need to engage them so that they can offer space, parking space to actually put this equipment.
We ask that they look at hybrid electric vehicles as a separate silo, full electric vehicles again as a separate silo, and ICE vehicles or internal combustion engines as a separate silo altogether, to see where we can leverage advantages by possibly putting a rebate to make the electrified options more attractive, more accessible, cheaper, and encourage people to actually adopt this technology.
Electric vehicle use in Zimbabwe is growing, buoyed by supportive policies by government, including favorable tax policies. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
And now in the Ask News, the country's fashion industry is steadily transforming from a cottage enterprise into a thriving sector, creating opportunities for women and youth, as well as promoting Zimbabwe's culture and identity.
Elegant designs and vibrant collections took center stage at a private fashion showcase in Harare over the weekend, where stakeholders highlighted the growing role of fashion in economic empowerment and cultural preservation. Government said youth should view fashion as a serious profession and invest in skills development to produce quality products capable of penetrating international markets.
I would want our youth and women to learn from this. If they do their products of high quality, good standards, those goods will be acceptable to big industries, big fashion houses.
The industry growth is already being reflected in retail stores.
Currently, we have got 70% of what's sold in our stores. The clothes were manufactured locally by Zimbabweans. And we've got our factory in Bulawayo, we have manufactured 40% of that. So we've got more than 100 SMEs and some medium-sized companies that are run by Zimbabweans.
Beyond commerce, fashion is also becoming a platform for telling Zimbabwe's story to the world.
This is storytelling, because it's supposed to give a background of the fabric and the beauty of Zimbabwe. So you find that a lot of the garments that these young ladies get to wear actually are telling something about Zimbabwe, the elements that are then incorporated into it. And so you see the story now unfolding. So when they go onto the World Pageant platform, this is where we get to see the elaborate different designs that you get to appreciate, because someone has inspired it.
Designer and founder of Cica Kotwa said her latest collection draws inspiration from the great Zimbabwe.
We have so many stories to tell. So what us as the fashion industry need to keep on anchoring is on taking monuments, taking what makes Zimbabwe Zimbabwe, and drawing inspiration with each and every brick and mortar to tell our story more outside Zimbabwe.
As local brands gain acceptance and creativity meets enterprise, Zimbabwe's fashion industry is proving that style can be a catalyst for economic growth and cultural preservation. Patience Nyagato, ZBC News, Harare.
Right, the fashion industry there taking us to our look at sport when we come back.
This June,
Step into a bigger entertainment experience with more to love on Us. We're talking more drama, more action, more unforgettable stories, all waiting for you.
All hands on deck.
We're opening up our world of entertainment so you can view more.
Good job, partner.
This June, pay for your current DSTV subscription and we'll upgrade you at no extra cost.
Welcome back. Our look at sport. The Bangladesh national cricket team, the Tigers, are in Harare ahead of the test match against Zimbabwe, which starts on Sunday at Harare Sports Club.
Zimbabwe and Bangladesh first met in Test cricket in 2001 at Queen's Sports Club in Bulawayo, where the Chevrons claimed a historic victory by an innings and 32 runs. The Chevrons dominated the early contest between the two sides, winning 5 of the first 6 encounters against the then newly admitted Test nation. Over the years, however, Bangladesh have gradually turned the tide, developing into a formidable force in the longest format of the game and gaining the upper hand in the rivalry. Bangladesh arrived in Harare this Monday morning ahead of a multi-format tour, which starts with the opening test on Sunday before focus shifts to Bulawayo for the T20 International Series. The two teams have met 20 times in Test cricket, with Bangladesh holding a slender advantage of 9 wins to Zimbabwe's 8, while 3 matches have ended in draws. With the Tigers narrowly ahead in an overall record, Zimbabwe will be eager to make home advantage count and secure a victory that would bring a Test rivalry back to parity. Lawrence Trusida, ZBC News, Harare.
Football giants Highlanders and Dynamos remain arguably Zimbabwe's biggest football brands after a bumper crowd of 15,000 fans attended the latest Battle of Zimbabwe, which ended in a 1-draw at Barbourfield Stadium on Sunday.
While Highlanders and Dynamos may no longer be setting the pace on the field of play, the Battle of Zimbabwe remains unmatched when it comes to fan interest and attendance. The latest edition attracted 15,001 paying spectators at Barbourfield Stadium, underlining the enduring appeal of the country's 2 most decorated clubs. The figure comes on the back of another massive turnout during the reverse fixture at Rufaro Stadium earlier this season, proving that despite the rise of financially powerful clubs such as Scotland, Simba Bora, Hard Rock and FC Platinum, no fixture in Zimbabwean football captures the imagination of supporters quite like the Battle of Zimbabwe. The introduction of mandatory electronic ticketing by the Premier Soccer League did little to deter fans who turned up in large numbers to support their beloved teams. For Highlander supporters, the attendance was even more significant after a turbulent week dominated by uncertainty over player welfare and industrial action, reaffirming Boso's status as more than just a football club but a way of life for many in Bulawayo and beyond. On the pitch, the two giants shared the spoils once again, settling for a 1-1 draw after a 2-2 draw in the reverse encounter. Although the two giants are playing second field to some of the league's new pals, they remain unmatched in terms of support base. The 15,000 fans who paid to watch the Battle of Zimbabwe between Highlanders and Dynamos are however fewer than 25,000 supporters who paid to watch the Harare Derby between Dynamos and Cape United at Rufaro Stadium in May. The figures, however, still confirm that Dynamos, Highlanders and Cape United remain the biggest crowd pullers in Zimbabwe. Mthokozi Stube, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Well, the FIFA World Cup continues to produce drama across North America, with several African nations still in contention for the knockout stages as the final round of group of matches approaches.
Co-host Mexico were the first team to book a place in the round of 32 after collecting 6 points from 2 matches without conceding a goal. South Africa remain in the hunt despite picking up 1 point from 2 outings and must now avoid defeat against South Korea to keep their qualifications hopes alive. In Group B, Canada's emphatic 6-0 victory over Qatar and Switzerland's 4-1 win over Bosnia and Herzegovina have left the group finally balanced heading into the final match day. African interest remains strong in Group C, where Morocco boosted their chances of progressing with a memorable 1-0 victory over Scotland. The Atlas Lions are level on 4 points with Brazil, while Scotland remain mathematically alive on 3 points, eliminating Haiti in the process. The United States lead Group D with a perfect 6 points, while Australia and Paraguay remain locked in the battle for second place. Germany have already secured progression from after scoring 9 goals in 2 matches. Cote d'Ivoire remain well placed to claim second spot with 3 points. Group F has been dominated by Japan and the Netherlands, who sit level on 4 points, while Tunisia are already out following consecutive defeats. Egypt occupied top spot in Group G with 4 points following their historic first World Cup victory over New Zealand. The Pharaohs need a win against Iran to guarantee a place in the knockout stages, while Belgium and Iran remain locked in the race for qualification. In Group H, Spain leads the standings on 4 points, but African debutants Cape Verde continue to capture the imagination after earning draws against Spain and Uruguay. The island nation can secure a historic place in the round of 32 with a victory over Saudi Arabia in their final group match. Meanwhile, attention now turns to Groups I, J, K and L, which are yet to complete their second round of fixtures. Anna Shambrombedzi, ZBC News.
And the news just coming in, of course, from the World Cup, Argentina going against Austria, with Lionel Messi just scoring his second goal, putting Argentina in the lead. And with that news, we get straight to our Met department for the weather report and forecast.
Good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to tonight's weather report and forecast. Hope I find you well. Looking at some of the conditions that we had, we still had that cloudy mass over the southern parts of the country, covering Matabeleland south into Bulawayo Metropolitan, Masvingo, as well as Manicaland and southern parts of the Midlands, including a bit of cloudiness that was over Mashonaland provinces. But however, by afternoon, these clouds were fading off and our winds were shifting to an easterly wind, where we're expecting still cooler conditions over the southern parts of the country, with more of the central parts of the country being in the cold category. We were seeing the single digits. To the north, we're still expecting it to be cooler because of that valley effect of the Zambezi Valley. But by afternoon, most of our temperatures above 25, as this cloud is expected to start breaking. To the north, we're still expecting the Zambezi Valley to be our warmest area. We were expecting Bulawayo to be at 25 by afternoon, but the morning temperature is still in the cold category by morning because of the cooling conditions that we've had for the past few days. Same for Matopo, we're expecting it to be cold at first because of that clearance of cloud, but by afternoon we're expecting our temperatures to reach 25 for tomorrow for Gwanda, but 26 on Wednesday, cooling down as we get into Thursday and Friday. Same for Masvingo, we're expecting cooler conditions around Thursday and Friday, but for the first few days, our maximum at 25 by afternoon. Morning temperatures in the cool category. Same for Gweru, very cold in the morning with a chance of ground frost for tomorrow, but by afternoon it warms up to about 24, 23 for Wednesday and Thursday. Mutare also expecting cold conditions at first, but warms up to about 25 degrees Celsius by afternoon, cooling down around Thursday and Friday as well. Nyanga also cool around Thursday and Friday, but for the first few days, a bit of warmth there. 23 is our maximum for Marondera for tomorrow, but morning temperatures also in the cold category. Harare cold at first, becoming warmer by afternoon with a maximum of 23. 23 also for Wednesday, and for Kweku, we're expecting a morning temperature of about 9 degrees Celsius, warming up to about 26 for much of this week. For Kadoma, 10s and 11s for the morning, but it warms up to about 27 degrees Celsius for much of this week. A few drops around Thursday and Friday, but for Chinhoyi, 26 for tomorrow, and it warms up to about 27 on Wednesday. Lupane, morning temperature at 10 degrees Celsius, but it warms up to about 28 degrees for much of this week, cooling down as we get into the weekend. For Bindura, we're expecting 25s for much of this week. Morning temperatures in the 8s and 9s. And for Victoria Falls, it's much cooler, where we're expecting it to be 12 morning, and it warms up to about 28. For Kariba, it's 13 at first, becoming warmer because of that valley effect. And with that, we wish you a pleasant week ahead, and it's back to the news desk.
Right, the weather report and forecast bringing us to the end of tonight's main news study.
Indeed, it's good night. We'll be back here tomorrow night. Good night.